Prototech is the word that Keen Software House, the developers of Space Engineers, are using to describe a set of super powerful endgame blocks coming in the next update for Space Engineers later this year. In my previous video, we looked at a teaser showing off one of these new blocks and discussed how they would fit into the new PvE and exploration update. However, today I thought we could discuss something they haven't shown us. They've shown us 3 of these Prototech blocks so far, but what other secret Prototech blocks are they hiding from us?
Where are they?
Firstly, let's define what Prototech is based on what we've been shown so far. Here are the 3 Prototech blocks we've been shown so far, and I should mention that the top 2 of these are concept art and might not represent the final product that makes it into the game. However, I feel if they are comfortable enough to show these off to us, they are probably at least happy that these represent what Prototech will be when it finally makes it to the game. If we start with this block over here, this block is called the Prototech Assembler. Aside from it being fairly obvious from its design, if we zoom in on this blurred out text here, you can hopefully see that the first word is Prototech, with square brackets around it, and the second word is definitely Assembler. If you don't believe me, I've already proven my clue deciphering skills in the past, when I translated the stereolith inscription to English, from the strange alien language of German. Currently, what this block does differently to the base game assembler is a mystery to us. But one thing we can definitely see is that it's much bigger than the current assemblers we have. And as we all know, bigger is better, especially if you have to compensate for something. Here you can see the normal assembler and its cosmetic variant, the industrial assembler. The normal one is 1x2x1 blocks in size, and the industrial variant is 2x2x1 in size. If we take a look at our Prototech assembler, we know that this connector port has to be 1 block in size, so we know that our new assembler is at least 2x3x2 in size. I say at least because I'm not sure if the depth of this block is 2 or 3 blocks width due to the perspective of the image, but the point is that it's much bigger than the current assembler we have. The same can be said for the second Prototech block revealed to us. This text here says Prototech Large Ion Thruster Concept C, but even without that, I could have told you that this is a big thruster. Trust me, I know big thrusters when I see them.
Huh?
All of the base game large ion thrusters we have are 3x2x4 blocks in size, whereas the Prototech large ion thruster in this concept is, judging by the size of the man over here, at least 3 or 4 blocks tall and wide. And if we assume this part here is a block wide, to allow us to make this thruster airtight, that makes it around 12 blocks long, if not longer, which is absolutely insane.
That's quite big.
That's far longer than any other block we currently have in the game. This is you versus the guy she tells you not to worry about. For around the year, on the Space Engineers live streams, the developers have been speculating about how, hypothetically, it would be cool to have larger thrusters and other similar type blocks to help us move and manage the massive ships we keep building. And I'm starting to think this might have been them dropping a massive hint to us, as I'm pretty sure this is exactly what Prototech blocks are. Upscaled, more powerful versions of blocks that currently exist in the game to save us from spamming thousands of thrusters and gyroscopes on our larger ships. There's a couple of things outside these 2 block teasers that indicate this. For example, on the release block for the last Space Engineers update, it says, in the next update, we're going to go big. And I'm starting to think they meant that literally. A massive new thruster to help us move our capital ships, and a huge super fast assembler to help us manufacture all of the components to build them. And then whatever this is, don't worry, we'll get to that. If Prototech blocks are massive souped up versions of the blocks we currently have in the game, I don't necessarily expect them to have extra features that their lesser counterparts don't have. The Prototech Ion Thruster will just be a massive stronger thruster. I doubt it will have any jump capabilities or let us break the speed limit like some of you suggest, and I supremely doubt it will work in an atmosphere due to it having the word ion in its name. Maybe the Prototech assembler can build an extra tier of components, if there are any, just like how the regular assembler can build components that the basic assembler cannot. But again, I don't expect anything beyond that. I don't expect any Prototech blocks that don't currently have a base game counterpart, so no shields, no lasers. The devs have already said they don't want to add those things to the base game, and I don't think they would want to go back on that, at least for Prototech. So that does beg the question, based on the information we have, what other Prototech blocks will they likely add? Well, we have an easy place to start. The third Prototech teaser we received is also the only one of the 3 that we don't directly know what it is. However, I think I can say, pretty definitively, unless I turn out to be completely wrong, that this isn't a refinery, like a lot of you suggested in the comments last time. You see, I told you that I read all of my comments. All 700 of them. Flamingo. The one thing that we know for definite is that Prototech blocks are big, much bigger than their base game counterparts. So, unless I turn out to be completely wrong, this block cannot be a refinery, as it appears to be roughly the same size as our current refinery. Also, the current refinery's orientation is upright like this, and this block has a terminal here, which indicates whatever block this actually is, its correct orientation is on its side like it is. As I mentioned last time, as it has a terminal, it's unlikely to be a thruster, as no thruster in the game has a terminal, so it's more likely to be a functional block. My guess would be, based on the fact that Prototech blocks appear to be larger than their base counterparts, is that this is an upgrade of a functional block that is currently 1x1 or 2x2 in size. I did a quick walk round of all the functional blocks in the game, and aside from the O2H2 generator and the hydrogen engine, none of the other blocks stick out to me as candidates. So maybe I turn out to be completely wrong, and it is a refinery after all. I think the key to what this block is might lie in this symbol on it here. I know that I've seen this symbol somewhere in the game before, but I cannot for the life of me remember where. If you recognise it and know what it means in regards to Space Engineers, please let me know, as I've not been able to sleep for days thinking about this. But, do you know what does help me sleep at night? Money. Wait, I mean the love and support of my community, which you can show by clicking the like and subscribe buttons below this video. Thanks, I love you guys. Click the buttons. Anyway, this video is supposed to be about things we haven't been shown yet. I think it's pretty safe to say that if this is a Prototech large ion thruster, we will also be getting a Prototech ion thruster. Now, I know I said bigger is better, but I think there might be such a thing as too big. At least, I hope so. I'd imagine a regular size Prototech ion thruster would still be larger and more powerful than the current large ion thruster, just not the entire size of a ship. Whilst I'm not convinced that this is a refinery, you know the drill. I will admit that it is likely that with the existence of a Prototech assembler, that we will probably get a refinery as well. I think the likelihood of this changes on whether or not there are new ores added in the update, as, whilst there was a mention of new resources coming in the update, we've currently seen no indication that this means new ores will be coming as well. However, that doesn't mean we couldn't benefit from a faster, more efficient refinery. There is nothing worse than when you're building a ship in the later game of Space Engineers and you run out of steel plates. And also, you have no iron ingots to craft more. So you have to go and mine some iron, put it in your refineries, and then you just sit there and watch as it takes absolutely ages to process. Even with speed upgrades, it takes such a long time to process the amount of raw resources you need to build big ships. We frequently end up building massive towers of refineries to do so. And, as it seems that this update is focusing on building big ships, perhaps we'll be getting a new refinery that will process ores faster and more efficiently. Gyroscopes are probably the block most in need of a Prototech variant. The sheer number of gyroscopes it takes to turn a massive ship is absolutely ridiculous. How am I supposed to hit anyone with my giant sword, definitely not compensating for something, if it takes 200 years to swing it? Come on, in your own time. I know you can do it. I believe in you. Nearly there and... Classic Space Engineers. This ship is completely filled with gyroscopes, and it, like many large ships, takes an absolute age to turn, so having a more powerful variant of the gyroscope would definitely be a benefit. Whilst I don't necessarily anticipate them in the next update, as I don't think this is the last update to include Prototech blocks, I do think we'll see Prototech hydrogen and atmospheric thrusters at some point in the future. I guess an atmospheric one probably isn't needed, but the poor guy would feel left out if he didn't get one. There, Mr. Atmospheric Thruster, it's okay. The hydrogen thruster can't hurt you, even if he is better than you in every single way. The fact that the large grid ore detector only does 150 meters is disgusting. You literally have to be touching the ground or an asteroid to detect anything with that. Actually, thinking about it, could this be a Prototech ore detector? One of the most obvious examples of a future Prototech block is probably a new kind of reactor. Whilst the most obvious example would be a fusion reactor that converts hydrogen into lots of energy, we kind of already have that with the hydrogen engine. And the last thing I want is something else for my friends to drain all my hydrogen with. Please, just turn off your engines when you're not using them, guys. It's not that hard. Batteries could also do with a Prototech variant. And I've always found it crazy that we have larger cargo containers and larger hydrogen tanks but not larger batteries. You have to place thousands of them on your large ships to store a tiny amount of power, especially compared to the amount of power you need to operate things like jump drives. Speaking of which, the last block to complete this initial set of Prototech blocks would probably be the jump drive. I don't like the jump drive and would prefer if it was deleted from existence, but even I will admit it has a problem. This here is the Cloudbuster, a ship I built in survival years ago, and the bottom level of the blade is completely filled with jump drives from front to back, totaling to nearly 50 jump drives. Now, 50 jump drives is an insane amount to build in survival, and it's an absolutely insane amount of resources to invest in a ship. And I was only able to build it because I secretly siphoned all of my friends' resources in my multiplayer server. That's right guys, it was me that stole all your resources. That's what you get for draining all my hydrogen all the time. You'd think, with that many jump drives, I would be able to go anywhere in the solar system in a single jump, right? No chance. I can't even make it halfway to Mars, let alone any of the other planets. So, Prototech jump drive? Yes please. Assuming I'm correct, and this next update adds new capital ship variants for all the blocks I've listed, I guess the next thing to add would be larger capital ship weapons, no? I'm not a betting man, as I've said before, however, I would absolutely put my money on the next update after this one being Warfare 3. Not only is a Warfare update a big seller for Keen, if their plan is to help us build bigger ships, they also need to give us a method of destroying those bigger ships. Bigger Gatlings, bigger rockets, bigger railguns, etc, etc. Just slap that Prototech sticker on there. And it's about time we got a Gatling turret variant. Keen, give me a new Gatling turret and my life is yours! What Prototech block would you most like to see in the next update? Let me know with a comment below. And as always, like this video and subscribe to this channel for more Space Engineers content. A special thanks to the Whiskman, Hamish Drowner, the Wildcat, Tarantula Fudge, and Summit. If you'd like to support this channel, you can become a YouTube member or a patron with the links below this video.